So the new Shrek movie just got teased, and there's a big problem, and we're going to talk about it. So about a few years ago, Puss in Boots: The Final Wish came out, and it was actually one of the better movies that DreamWorks came out with. And at the near end of the movie, Shrek 5 was actually teased. Now this was actually kind of surprising because Shrek Forever After was supposed to be the end of the series. You know, when something's making them money, they're not going to stop making money from that certain things. I mean, you know how many Shrek toys and accessories and stuff was made out of that movie? And the reason why this is so crazy because Shrek movies was known for the lighthearted yet serious storytelling. For example, the first Shrek actually spoke on a really good topic, and the topic was basically don't judge people before you get to know them. The thing is, growing up with my type of like, you know, stature and demeanor and like kind of face, a lot of people mistake me for being like more of a meaner person, but I'm actually kind of kind-hearted. So when that movie came out and I watched that when I was younger, I really resonate with it more now because, you know, you just get bigger as you get older. I mean, obviously that's just human genetics, but enough of me rambling about that. Let me give you another example. I actually almost prefer Shrek Forever After over the first one. Don't shoot me, but hear me out. The third Shrek movie spoke on loss, and basically you never knew what you had until you lost it. That could mean money, family members, a friend. I guess friends can go with family members, but you still can lose a friend and, you know, them not being, you know, dead or anything like that. That's just really so true because you lose so many little things in life, and then when you think back on like, dang, I could have did this, you know, with that person, or I could have bought that with that little money I spent. You get what I'm trying to say? It really makes you appreciate the things that you have now, and this kind of makes you reflect on life. And I feel like that was a really good lesson to teach younger people, and it can teach some people my age also. And now we're being teased with the next Shrek movie, and there's a big problem. But before I show you the problem, let me actually show you a picture of Shrek in Shrek Forever After. Now, if you look at the older model compared to the new one, he looks more human and real to how a middle-aged man or father would be. And it kind of gives him some relatability. I mean, just look at his player build. I know a few of our dads are actually built like that. So it kind of gives it some type of human feel to it, and it actually makes us relate to Shrek more on a deeper level. And I know some people may be like, oh, it's just a kids movie, why are you going that deep? I ain't gonna lie, bro, I've always gone this deep with a lot of movies, and that's just how I feel. I feel like if you're gonna make a good movie, you have to make it relatable to some people in some type of way, not just to the target audience. Sometimes you gotta relate to the older people also. Now that we looked at the older version of Shrek, now let's look at the newer picture of the whole family. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, but before we really critique this, let's look at the positives. So it looks like Shrek's children are probably younger teenagers, about 14 to 17. He looks like a teenager of this day. You know how parents are like real simple and, you know, sleek and, you know, clean with their outfits as they get older. You know, when they were younger, they had these crazy designs. You know how our parents just, you know, they throw on a simple outfit, you know, go out the door and just looking presentable and clean. But, you know, us of our generation, you know, we're young. We like to experiment with different clothes and different types of styles and stuff like that. You know, that's a little different from how things used to be back then. So I actually kind of like this design choice of Shrek's daughter because it gives her more of her own personal type of feel. Does that make sense? Now, does it look kind of like the average, you know, teenage girl that's growing up? A little bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, we still haven't seen Fargus and the other kid. I don't know his name. So we got to kind of cut him a little bit of slack. But that's about it for the positives. Now let's get into the negative. Bro, let's start with Shrek himself. Is it me or he looks more cartoony than animation if anything? You can tell the Spider-Verse movies really took an effect on the whole animation industry because they're trying to make stuff look more comic book feel and more, you know, 30 FPS. You know, you get what I'm trying to say? Like the Puss in Boots movie. They're going for a more, let's try to keep relating to the younger fan base by making Shrek look more cartoony and more friendly to the eye. The whole thing with Shrek is that he's not supposed to look friendly. He's supposed to look mean, ugly, and unpresentable. You get what I'm trying to say? But as he has gotten older, he's become more warming and understanding and more mature. If anything, he looks more lifeless, like he lost that human look and feel to him. And it seems like his clothing just looks too good. Does that make sense? The whole point of Shrek is that he just kind of throws whatever he has on and just goes out the door. It's almost like he handmade all of his clothing. And it looks like in here, it looks like he just bought his clothing from a store, and it feels like Shrek is the type of guy that never really try to change himself for anybody, even his own wife and children. Now, that's not me saying change to be more mature. That's basically me saying like appearance. Like Shrek is still gonna walk out the house, you know, a little dirty and stuff like that because he's an ogre. And one thing I noticed that if you look at his vest, it actually kind of fits him now. I don't know, they made it a little longer. I don't know, it's just a kind of a weird design choice. There's not really much more I could say about Shrek, and it looks like kind of like the older model of Shrek if you kind of stare a little bit longer. All right, now let's look at Fiona. Is it me or Fiona looks more like Shrek than actually Shrek? And why does her hair look like a wig? Another thing I said with Shrek is that they did a good job on making him feel human. And here she just looks kind of off, and you can really tell that they're trying to go for that like trademark, you know, eyebrow up type of like poses and stuff like that. And honestly, it's just coming off as real cringe. And even in the trailer that they're trying to show off Shrek memes and stuff like that, and it's like we're so past that time. Shay Frillis actually made a really good point about that. He basically said in his video that it feels like they're trying to relate to something that's just so old. The Shrek Love, Shrek is Life memes was back in when I was like, what, 13, 14? It's like, bro, I'm 20 years old now. Oh, that sounds scary. I'm 20 years old now. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not laughing at those memes anymore. Even back then, I really never thought they were funny, but I digress. But yeah, also in here, she looks more off. I do like the design choice of her clothing. It looks more princess-y, if that makes sense. But like I said, the old one, she just looks better. Like, she actually just looks better. I don't know, it's just something about it. I apologize if my points were intricate, you know, like how some people is. Some people can actually explain this stuff way better than me. The most detailed explanation I can give you guys, it just looks off. It looks uncanny. It doesn't look finished. It doesn't look detailed. Okay, now let's look at Donkey. He's the only one that kind of looks okay. I say that because he looks like he actually is starting to get older. The only thing I was actually waiting to see is how they age. You know, how Shrek looks years later, 14 to 10 years later, because I mean, let's be honest. I'm pretty sure his kids were like, what, 3 to 4 years old in the Shrek the Third, or Shrek Forever After, my bad. And I'm pretty sure this is like, what, when they're like 14, 15, 16, 17? Shrek is gonna have a few gray hairs. He's not gonna look the same. And if anything, he looks more younger and cartoony. Why did they do this? Anyways, and it looks like everyone really didn't age a ton. If anything, they de-aged. But that's all we have to say about the movie and how it looks so far. Honestly, I don't really understand what they were really going for here. I understand they want to kind of tune into more a younger audience, but a lot of the people that watched Shrek when they were younger, we were younger back then when we watched Shrek, and us now, we're like 20, 25, 23, like we're older now. I don't think it's that bad to kind of not cater, but also relate to us also by keeping the older models and the older animation, I guess. But I actually have good faith that the movie is actually going to be good. I never doubt a Shrek movie other than Shrek the Third. That was terrible. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Bye.